Hey, what's up? In this video, I'll be showing you how to fix your LG dryer that's not starting. And so what happens is usually you just turn it on and you put your clothes in and then you press the start button. And what happens is nothing happens. As you just hear this hum, this buzz sound, you look inside, nothing is happening. So I'll be walking you through how to fix that issue and what could potentially be causing that. Now this will apply to most heat pump dryers. If yours doesn't look like this, don't worry, but what we're going to investigate and the procedure that we're going to go through is mostly the same across many different models. So if you see or you hear yours making this humming sound, there's something that we need to do on this. I'm just going to pause that. So what we need to do is turn it off. We're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to take the top off and investigate a bit further. To take the top off, you're going to undo two screws at the back, one on the left and one on the right, and this whole thing slides back and you can take it off. With the top off, we're going to restart the cycle and we still get that buzzing sound. What you're going to do is you're going to reach in and push the drum a bit, give it a bit of an assistance, and you can see now it's spinning. Now it's spinning, now it's working. You can see inside the drum there, it's spinning. And you can see from the top there that it's working as well. So we're going to need to see what's going on with that. So if you've pushed yours and it starts working, then it means potentially two things. There's a capacitor that controls the starting of the dryer. That could be a problem. And also sometimes the wheels, the roller wheels that hold the drum might be worn out and it's giving too much resistance and it's not able to easily start spinning. But to investigate further and see what the cause is, we're going to need to take off this panel on the right. To take off this panel, you're going to need to take off some screws at the back, undo them, and at the top there's two screws, 1, 2, and yours might be different. You just need to figure out a way to take the side panel. And at the bottom here we have this protective cover. All right, make sure you unplug it from power, turn it off. And this bottom panel comes off by, if you insert a screwdriver in this gap, a flat screwdriver, and you pry it out, it'll come out. There's some hinges. So you can pry it out like that, and this comes off just like that. You'll see here there's a screw that you need to take off. To take this panel off, you simply pull it out, and it comes off just like that. Having a look in here, there's the wheels. There's two of these. There's one on this side and one on the other side. These are what this rolls on. And then this is your motor start capacitor. This is what will be causing that problem sometimes when it's having problems starting. But from mine, what I'm going to do is I can already see that this roller wheel has had a lot of wear on it. So much that some of this rubber is just coming off and dropping off in there. So if there's a bit of resistance to this freely rolling, that would present a problem before you start replacing the capacitor. Capacitor is really cheap itself. It's an 8 UF, 8.5 UF capacitor, 450 VAC. So they'll differ from model to model. So just remember to replace like for like so that it'll work properly. It's probably going to cost you maybe about 20 to 30 bucks shipped. And the roller wheels themselves might cost a bit more, maybe $50, $60 to sell them in a pair. Also, the other thing you want to check is you want to check this wheel over here where the belt goes. Make sure that this is balanced. It's not moving from side to side. Make sure it's freely rolling. Now to change these, usually you're going to have to take off the belt and then maybe slide this drum back so you get good access so that this can come out. And this is held in place by a 10 mil nut, and you just undo that and then you put in the new one. Now to be able to access these wheels properly and change them, we're gonna disconnect this back a little bit from the front. We're gonna undo some screws at the back so that this thing is a bit free. So you find out that at the bottom of this panel there'll be some screws holding it onto this bit. You undo those ones because those bottom ones, they go into the plastic fitting, into the house. And then there's one more here at the top that you must undo because that's also attached to the front. So at the top, there's a screw here which you need to undo because it's attached to this. On the side here, the way they've attached it is such that you need to go push this panel in so that it releases the back. The same will go for the other side as well. Push the front panel in so that it releases the back. And now you've got a bit of movement at the back. Oh, you notice at the bottom there that there is a groove here that's gonna limit our movement. And I'm gonna take it out of that groove. And on this other side, just remember to take out all the screws. Just gonna lift it, just be careful. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now I've got a bit of freedom now. Just put on the new one. Just make sure you don't over tighten it. Just enough to keep it in place. Just check if it's still freely spinning. Awesome. Now that we've done that, just make sure the seal, the black seal that's over here behind this, is nice and flat. You can take a peek through the hole here just to see if it's nicely seated, because that seals everything up. So make sure that it's seated in there properly before you start putting everything together. All right, we're going to put everything back together. And to do that, I think we'll start at the bottom, reverse of what we did. We're going to need to lift this and put it back in the groove. Same thing goes for the other side. All right, back in the grooves. So fantastic. And then second step is up the top. You can remember up the top we have these bits that need to sort of lock into place. Beautiful. And for the other side as well. So make sure nothing's out of the place. So now for the drum, just make sure it's seated in nicely into the groove at the front so that it's sealing properly, sitting properly. We're going to put the belt back. To do that, just line up the belt with the witness marks on the drum here. And then at the bottom here, you can see the spring that's attached to the motor. You push this clip in and pull it out. That way this can slide forward. And you'll be able to insert the belt back into its groove. But to get the tension back, you pull this down and reinstall it into its groove. You want to do a couple of test spins to make sure that it's lined up properly. It's not going to jump out of its tracks once you have it back on there. Perfect. Mine's on nicely now. I'd suggest before you close up everything, plug it into power and be careful, don't touch anything here first. Just be careful, plug it in and see if it starts working. Start a cycle. So So on my one, I can see it needs that capacitor. So I'm going to have to replace that capacitor, but I also needed to replace those wheels. So it's good to check these things. So if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Everything goes back together the reverse of how we pulled it apart. Just have a look through the video if you ever get lost in the procedure. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.